you for joining us, caring about your world. We're talking about vitamins and minerals that are natural from food sources, thus the name Grown by Nature. Jason Durkovics introduced us to them. I've been so grateful ever since we have been carrying them because they are, in my estimation, the absolute best. We're going to find out more about side effects and what you don't want in your items that you purchase. But let me just share with you that we do have a special on Grown by Nature. The more you buy, the cheaper the price. So we have, of course, the multivitamin, iron, and molybdenum, selenium, which is a big one, probably magnesium, selenium, and the multivitamin are the biggest sellers for the Power Hour. They have essential fatty acids, on and on and on, potassium, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin E, and we'll talk about as many as we can this hour. But I wanted to share the story. There was one of the Power Hour people had a daughter who was extremely anemic, extremely. Now, if you pull down the lower lid of your eye and you look in there and you don't see any red color, you are anemic. And that's just kind of one of the indicators we would use in the emergency room is to see if people were anemic. You pull that down. If it's a real baseless color like white or just a minimal amount of pink, then you probably were anemic, and we would use that as an indicator. Well, she was extremely anemic, and I think her eye was almost like white in there. So the doctor gave her an iron preparation to take. And after about, I believe it was 2 months, nothing had changed. She went back for another iron level. Nothing had changed. So her mother put her on Grown by Nature, which she had tried to get her to take initially. And, of course, mother telling you to do that probably doesn't make a lot of sense or to a child. But anyway, she took the Grown by Nature, and boy, in a heartbeat, her level came up. And I have to ask Dr. Llewellyn, why would that happen? What that was, to me, was amazing that we could see that within 1 month's time.
I have seen that many times over the years, Joyce, many times. Hundreds of thousands, I don't know how many times. But when people are extremely anemic, they try all the IVs and all the rest of it. And if they have a metabolism problem, they're not going to even get 1% of it. And you've seen that in hospital. The reason that it's going in, and we've done this testing inside, outside, upside, downside, is because it's being delivered by proteins. It is not just the fact that these are food components. It's the fact that they are absolutely chaperoned, connected, as the Nobel Prize winner in 1999 said nutrients should be, exactly that. These proteins are specific to each nutrient that are in all the Grown by Nature formulas. Now, when you're deficient, it is the proteins that have the intrinsic signals that say there is a demand for iron in the blood or the liver or wherever it is, and it goes to the greatest site of need. Chemicals can't do that because they do not have the precise protein structure to deliver it. And it's no good taking some soya protein or something else. It just won't work. It is the proteins, exactly the same if you ate a lot of high iron foods. Now, my experience with deficiency of iron, you can't eat sufficient high iron foods to really overcome that. But it is those proteins, Joyce, that deliver it. And I've seen that so many times. People on IVs, extreme depletion, numbers down to even 5.5, and they come back within 3 to 4 weeks.
It's incredible. I saw it. I absolutely saw it happen. All right, let's talk about side effects that you get from chemicals that you don't want. So what are the things that you don't want in your vitamins? If somebody offered them to you, or if you're looking at a composite of things you could put in vitamins, which ones would you reject?
I would reject the natural vitamins. There's a very simple reason. There is nothing.
Wait a minute, the natural vitamins? You would reject natural vitamins?
Yes, because there's nothing natural in them. They are 100% chemistry. Then they're made from things like coal tar. Now, it won't say that on the label. It will say thiamine hydrochloride. But it is coal tar. It's ammonia. All of these natural vitamins tell you on the label they're made from chemicals, and they are methanol, benzenes, petrol esters, but they don't call them that. They call them hydrochloride or mononitrate or something that seems more acceptable. I mean, all this nonsense that I get, particularly with women at the moment, which I particularly am causing a lot of trouble in the Far East, is about women's nutrition and the vitamin D and the calcium and things like that. I mean, the vitamin D is irradiated cattle brains. That doesn't sound very natural to me. And the point about it is, to get vitamin D to work, and there are only a very few companies, a handful, that make this worldwide, and all the so-called natural vitamin boys buy from the chemical companies, by wholesalers or whatever. But it doesn't work unless you have the hydroxy radicals on it. Those are like the spark plugs in an engine, and all of these vitamin Ds don't have it. So the more you take, you suffer dangers of side effects of these chemicals that come from so-called vitamin D. But all of these so-called natural vitamin D, vitamins, Joyce, why I reject them, they're not nutrients. And there is no difference between the health shop and the pharmacy, or even what the doctor prescribes. Look at the ingredients on the label. Now, nowhere in nature does hydrochloride exist attached to pyridoxine or any other so-called natural vitamin, and that's why if I get a bit emotional about it, it is so easy to see. There are 50 brands of B6 in a health shop. Why doesn't somebody ask the assistant, what is the difference between the pyridoxine hydrochloride in any of these 50 brands? And where does the pyridoxine hydrochloride come from in nature to be called natural? It is only legally called natural because they have duplicated the molecule that they say vitamin B6 is, and that's all the vitamins together. The one that I particularly am against is all the women taking the vitamin D, because that does a lot of harm. It really does.
So what is your vitamin D? Well, what is your vitamin D in comparison to what the other ones are? How does yours differ?
We're using nutritional yeast, and it's been validated by the Linus Pauling Institute. The letter was given to us by Dr. Jeffrey Bland, who is very, very well known in America, and he validated that we have the active metabolites attached to the vitamin D to make it work. And we would find, it's very difficult to say, I work, as you know, in research in clinics and things. We can't get responses 5, 6, 7,000 IUs of the standard vitamin D that we get with something like 200 IUs of our vitamin D.
Interesting.
And it's because it's like trying to get a car. I can give you 50 cars or 200 cars. If you haven't got the ignition key, there's not much point in me giving them to you, is there?
Excellent point. Excellent point. All right, I'm going to run through some of these. I'm going to just give me, because I wish we had an hour to do on each one of these items. Our people are limited in money. We don't have a money to buy absolutely everything, so people need to pick and choose what it is that they need to take. So I want to run through these, and just you can give me a quick answer on what is different about grown by nature versus the ones on the shelf. Would that be okay?
Yes, I'll do my best.
All right. Okay. Vitamin mineral, or the multivitamin and mineral in the 60-tab count that we have at the Power Mall. How does this differ, your multivitamin mineral versus what's at the health shop?
I'll tell you my shorthand. It's a nutritional insurance scheme. You are not going to get that blend of vitamins and minerals from your foods, and so you take the multivitamin. If you take the chemical form, you'll cause your body distress. So I take the multivitamins. I take 2 or 3 every day. That ensures that I will get all those micronutrients, and it ensures that I will get my vitamin D and several other vitamins and B12 in a workable form my body can use, as though I was eating a diet, complete with all my raw foods and everything else. Does that answer that question?
Excellent. All right. Selenium. How is your selenium different than the selenium on the market?
First of all, it's in exactly the same form as you get from food. It is not a chemical, and some chemical seleniums, when you turn the wrap around the back, they're actually listed now in Europe as carcinogens, but they are freely sold as selenium on the front of the label in America. They are listed in Europe as carcinogens. The bioavailability of those seleniums is, the different forms of seleniums varies between about 1.5% to perhaps 12% workable in the body. That means your body has to get rid of 98% of toxin material the body doesn't want, or 82, something like that. But we do not have any waste materials, and as far as the toxicity is concerned, when we've done our measurements in hospitals in America, the toxicity of ours is so low, it's not even measurable compared to the other ones.
Okay.
But the thing is, you will get 96% of our selenium, and if it will, one of the other things about these food nutrients, sorry to get excited, terribly important, it's like eating too much cabbage or oranges. What happens? It comes out the other end. This does not build up in tissue, Joyce. I've been doing this 30 years with these nutrients. They do not build up toxic background like the chemical vitamins and minerals have to do, because your body can't get rid of them, contributing to arthritis, osteoporosis, and a whole bunch of other things, because your body can't get rid of those chemicals.
All right. Vitamin C. How does your vitamin C differ from 99% of the other vitamin Cs on the market?
Well, it is vitamin C. That's the first thing. It is not a chemical ascorbic acid. Now, the main thing about vitamin C is the functions it does. Now, we've got 20 studies from American universities published showing the vitamin C activity is clinically it's not more effective. The ascorbic acid, which is commonly vitamin C, will not do the job. Ours does, because it is vitamin C. The other important thing, which I would like to come to you on, desperately important, is our vitamin C is pH neutral. Most American guts will be acid. And that's why I agree with your advertisement for the probiotic. I wish you'd asked me about that, by the way. But the vitamin C we have has been clinically proven to act like vitamin C. In the clinics in hospitals here, we have the evidence from around the world, including at least 15 or something at medical universities in America, showing that it is effective. The ascorbic acid is not.
All right, very good.
And the dose is nothing to do with it. Sometimes the hospital will use 20, 25 times less dose of ours, or the food ones, compared to the chemical form, and they still cannot get an effect at 20 or 25 times.
Oh, my goodness. So let's say somebody was vitamin C loading and they wanted to take a lot of vitamin C, be they had the flu or cancer or whatever. How much vitamin C would you recommend
I would
that they
front
take?
load. I would give them 500 to 750 milligrams of ours for about 3 to 5 weeks, and then they can go to 1 or 2 a day. Don't forget, we have shown that in clinical studies in Trinity College in Dublin, one of Europe's most important, our vitamin C was responsible for the negative cancer polyps in the bowel within 1 month. Within 1 month, Joyce, they had been using ascorbic acid for 3 years. They could not stop the malignancy. Within 1 month of using our vitamin C, it did. And that's published throughout the world in medical journals. Does that answer your question? And they were only getting 750 milligrams a day to stop that malignancy in the bowel.
Incredible, as opposed to 10,000 milligrams.
Well, it still won't do anything.
Recommend, yeah. All right, magnesium. Isn't magnesium?
No, there are 33 different chemical forms of magnesium, with absorption actually ranging from below 1%, probably up to 11%. That's the maximum. That's also quoted in the United States Pharmacopoeia, so it's not my view. It is the truth, which means your body has to then get rid of 89% of the chemical, or up to 95% of the chemical. The 8 out of 10 Americans are subclinically malnourished on magnesium. 8 out of 10 people are not getting magnesium in America. Particularly if they do a lot of exercise, they're even reducing it more. The food state, or the grown by nature magnesium, I know from all our blood trials and clinical work, even with Alzheimer's and other dementia issues, between 30 to 70 milligrams a day is more than enough.
Okay. Then why would one want to take the zinc and copper formula?
Well, I like that one. Because zinc and copper are related in several biochemical and metabolic pathways in the body. There is not always the amount of copper in somebody to help parts of the zinc do other functions. So zinc has its own therapeutic aspects in its own right, but it also is there to work with copper. Now, people don't often, again coming back to guts, have copper in the right place to actually bond onto that zinc and take it to other parts where copper needs the zinc. Does that explain it without being too difficult?
Okay, and
the copper needs zinc to help copper work, and there isn't always the copper available in the correct part of the body to help that zinc bond onto the copper.
Okay.
And with Grown by Nature, it's already done for you.
All right, the antioxidant with CoQ10.
Right, the antioxidant, these are other nutrients in there that we've used for bowel cancer and other cancers, published journals, and I do feel that a lot of people need antioxidants. Dare I say it, if they're taking chemical supplements, they should at least take the Grown by Nature antioxidant to help combat the free radicals that are being developed by the standard multivitamins. So I developed that one partly because I want to use it when I'm flying, which I do a lot, but it will actually act to stop free radicals. We've shown that in the labs and other things as well. Now, the multivitamin will do that to a degree, but the antioxidant is a double insurance. The Q10 will get to the heart in very low potency. There are different forms of Q10. Most coenzyme Q10 comes out of slaughterhouses and is very ineffective. The research is done on the real thing. Most is slaughterhouse byproducts. Very, very ineffective, 1 or 2% if you're lucky. We used it in pregnancy trials here where the doctor got very cross saying, you must have 800 Q10 a day. We showed that between 10 and 15 of ours was many times more effective because we don't use these nasty slaughterhouse things.
Interesting. Calcium. How does your calcium differ from everything else in the market?
Let me tell you, it goes to bone tissue density. It will actually go to your bone. All the calcium supplements that are sold, there is no medical evidence ever that they actually go to bone tissue density without causing immense kidney problems and other problems which you'll be aware of from your hospital days. We did 5 years with Paget's disease, which is very much more serious than osteoporosis. Only 2 forms went to bone tissue density, which was the food one we have and the calcitonin, and we know the problems with calcitonin. But the interesting thing that I did, very briefly, Joyce, so please tell me to shut up, we measured the weight of an elephant and found out from various countries how much calcium does an elephant get a day as calcium. It's around 1,800 milligrams. Put a lady on the scale next to an elephant, you should be able to work out how much she needs for her bones. There are no proteins in any of the 35 chemical forms of calcium available to women that will take it to bone tissue density. The only known medical thing is as an antacid for the tummy.
Unbelievable. We'll be back after this 3-minute break. Stay tuned to the Power Hour. Aren't you surprised, ladies and gentlemen? Amazing. We'll be back 3 minutes.